What is power? Power is something you gain through strength, loyalty, determination, and the willingness to see it through. What people don't realize is the loss and sacrifice that comes with it. Even if you don't understand what it is, you'll do anything to gain it. In a world full of people, you want that power because it makes you feel strong, makes you feel seen. It doesn't matter what it takes, what dreams you have to crush in order to get it. Which is why power can be so corrupting. Why it can lead you to a dark path. But it doesn't matter, because you've chosen to go on that path. You've chosen to seek it out. Which is why, when you do get it, you wonder, was it worth it? Was it worth the price of whatever you did to get it? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But in the long run, it won't matter. Because power only lasts so long. This is what happened to a villain known as Megalodon. A Chapter 5 villain who only seeked power. A man who would do anything to gain it, but in the end it would destroy him. Today we go over his origins and what really happened to this villain. Today I will explain his beginning and his end and where he is currently. But in order to go forward, we must look back. Back to Chapter 5, Season 2. When Zeus, the king of the gods, came to the island. After Pandora's box was opened, he decided that humanity's time was over, that he could not trust this power with us. So, he decided to wipe us all out. Because, once again, power being the root of all evil, he saw us as inferior. Saw us that if we gained this power of Pandora's magic, that we would become a threat to him and his power. And also it wasn't helping that the oracle was telling him that a mortal would defeat him. Of course, this would happen because Zeus was blinded by his own ambitions, by the fact that he wasn't willing to lose this power. Except he stood around for like 3 whole months and didn't do anything because, who knows, Fortnite didn't know what to do with him. But point is, our two main protagonists, the people who weren't searching for power, they were searching for hope, freedom, and the chance to live a life they wanted. Hope and Jonesy, the main protagonists of Chapter 5. Jones is a man who needs no introduction. If you've been in the storyline for a good amount of time, you'll know everything about him. But with Hope, a rebellious leader who only wishes to help others. After her sister opened Pandora's box, she fled. Feeling responsible, Hope would do anything in her power to fix the right that she created. So, they recruited the gods to their cause, convincing them that the mortal kind was worth saving, and with the oracle's prophecies and her help, we would defeat Zeus by destroying his hourglass, taking away his power, his immortality. He would disappear, but with one power gone, a new one rose. A dust cloud emerged from the island, struck by the lightning of Zeus himself. In a pure anger and revenge clouded his judgment, he struck Pandora's box, bursting it into a wave of energy that would strike the island and then a nearby island. The dust cloud would emerge, getting bigger and bigger as the days went on. Eventually, it would hit the island. The sands would roam over the island and a ship would crash into the island. This would deliver the megalomaniac, warlord tyrant, nitro-fueled maniac known as Megalodon. Within a few hours, the island was crushed into chaos. But Megalodon didn't care. He thrived for this. He loved the chaos. He saw this place as something to destroy, something to use and then to toss aside when he was done. When he realised his Leviathan, his main weapon of power, his main source of destruction, was out of fuel, he recruited his right-hand woman, mechanist, to build a pipeline in order to fuel it. What was the fuel? Nitro. What was nitro? Pandora's box that was hidden beneath the surface after its disappearance. After this, Hope and Jones would soon catch a ray of Megalodon. Hope, who has dealt with powerful people before, wanted to take him down, and Jones was all too well with megalomaniacs and them searching for power. Megalodon wasn't really looking for power, though, was he? What was he here for? What was his goals? What's the true intentions behind the man? Well, Megalodon just wanted to cause chaos for the sake of chaos. He wanted thrill, adventure, and basically he just wanted to destroy things, because that's all he's ever known. Or that's what we're made to believe. What was behind this man was a soul that had seen so much destruction behind closed bars. And not bars that you're thinking of. Bars that kept him at bay. You see, whoever this was known to do unspeakable acts of destruction before. So, he was used to it. But when his chains broke, he didn't know what to do. So he chose the only option that most people do when they've got no hope. Destruction. Because destruction's easy. You don't have to think about it, you don't have to dwell on it, you just do it. And eventually it becomes your very lifestyle. Megalodon made it his entire goal, to destroy everything that opposed him. Him and his wastelanders would destroy the island, causing war, destruction, and death. His wastelanders only lived to serve the madman. Eventually, Hope and Jones would fight back, gathering little information they could, but eventually they would find something. They would find out about Pandora's gems. Pandora's gems had fallen off Pandora's box after the lightning had struck the box its very self. They were scattered. But this is when we see power corrupt. Hope, who had never been used to such power, had been told by the Oracle herself that she was destined to find this power, that it was her destiny to reunite the gems and take back Pandora's power. Once she found it, she would, as the weeks went on, she would get more and more corrupted by this power. Not listening to Hope, not listening to reason, not listening to Jones either. She would believe that she was right. And at this point, why wouldn't she? She was set on a course that wasn't made for herself. She was told that this was her destiny. Set on a course that she didn't choose. So she had no choice but to walk it. She was presented an option and a path. She hadn't been given that before, so she took it. She found all of Pandora's gems by getting them by any means necessary, by doing Ringmaster's challenges, by helping Peabody, or whatever the P thing was called, I don't remember, it's been a while. And then even stealing from Megalodon himself, who was getting very annoyed at the time. But he didn't care, because he had something in his corner. You see, while Hope and Jones had been doing all this, he'd been playing 3D chess with them. Because he had something in his corner. A card up his sleeve. A man who predicted and told him his victory was inevitable. The Wanderer. A shadowy figure who told him his victory would go exactly this way if he did as he said. The pipeline was being built and everything was going according to plan. He just had to follow the roles, and soon power would belong to him. All the power he craved. Eventually, Jones and Hope would siege war on the Wastelanders, and the time had come to fight. But their eyes were caught astray by this Wanderer. Neither Jones or Hope knew who this was. She was determined to find out who he was. At the time, we had no idea who it is, but looking back, we do know now. He would go around the island looking for something. We don't know what, but we know it was power. What kind of power? A power that would reshape everything if he got his hands on it. But of course he wasn't willing to tell that to Megalodon, because while Megalodon thought he was 1 step ahead, the Wanderer was 5 steps ahead. People would see this cloaked figure and sure it was an illusion. Of course, it wasn't. It was something far worse. Something that would bring doom on the island. The weeks would go on, and we would slowly chip at Megalodon's army. He would get more annoyed and cause more destruction. But by the end of the weeks, the pipeline was finished, and it didn't matter now. Victory was at hand for Megalodon. As Machinist pumped the fuel into his ship, he announced his victory to the entire island. Jones and Hope were too late. They had failed. While they were so distracted by this Wanderer, Megalodon had taken that opportunity and rose to power. Right as his power was at his fingertips, right as the destruction of the island had come, it was taken from him. Someone hacked the pipeline and destroyed it, destroying everything he had worked for weeks. Destroying the rig rig. Everything he had worked for, everything he had just gained was taken within a matter of seconds. And all he could do was watch. Now, after this, we have no idea what happened to him. Theories arose, but the man disappeared. Here's what I believe happened. After his uncurling scream, he would go down to his ship and scream, but then be approached by this cloaked Wanderer. He would take off the cloak and reveal himself to Megalodon. Megalodon stood there and shook, didn't know what to say, but here's what Doom had to say.
You are what remains of this failed wasteland. You should know you were going to fail from the start, Gunner. And yes, I knew who you were from the minute I saw you. I never forget a face. And I know you blame me for what happened to you, but you should thank me. I saved you from the imagined order when I saw you. You were nothing but a slave to them. I set you free from their control, and because of that, you stand here more powerful than you've ever dreamt of being before. And you've earned Doom's respect, and because of that, you live. I could kill you now, but you served your purpose, so now you will leave this island and never return. Consider us even.
And with those chilling words over his shoulders, watching as Doom left, he would go to the top of Leviathan and watch as Doom robbed all that power he just tried to claim himself. Realizing there was no point in fighting, he would hop on a boat and he would leave the island with the Machinist. They would return to the island that started it all. Megalodon would sit there, wondering what to do next. Did he seek vengeance against Doom? Or does he move on? For the first time in his entire life, Megalodon actually had to think about what to do next. Not consumed by rage or anger or even chaos, all he could do was think. And that's when it came to him. In that very moment, in that very second, the only thing that could come to him was vengeance. But not against Doom. Against the blonde menace who had ruined his life from the start. Agent Jones. If it weren't for him and Seven, the Imagined Order would still be here. The Imagined Order was like his home. His only home. It was all he'd ever known. And although it may have been flawed, it was his home. And he was good at what he did. But Jones had taken it away from him, and now it was gone forever. Megalodon would realize that he still has one last vendetta against him, but without the Pandora's box energy to fuel the nitro, he would need something different. And that is where my theory ends. Because as of now, we don't know where Megalodon is. This has all been speculation up till now, but here's what I believe could happen in the future. Now that we know that zero shards are in speculation, we know that there is more of them. We know that they could land anywhere. Megalodon could go searching for one and find it. Once he has that, he could use that very power to seek vengeance against Jones. If it is gonna. If it's not, then I believe there is still a purpose for Megalodon, because there's a rule in the superhero community. If a villain is not killed in front of you, then he's not really dead. And since we never saw a body or any applications that Megalodon was actually dead, then it must mean he's alive and the writers have something else planned for him. But this comes to one last statement. Power corrupts all who seek it. This is the end of my theory video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.